What is going on, everybody? Hopefully, you guys are doing well out there. That is right. We are back again here on Sports Card Radio. We're going to be talking about buying and selling on eBay. There's a lot of people doing this, obviously, and there's a lot of different strategies out there. You can buy cards. You can buy cards in raw condition, and you can examine them. You can get the Kurtz Card Care juice, and you can clean them up. You can do whatever you want with your cards. Send them into PSA. And that's certainly a viable strategy. It might be something that we talk about on today's show because I am acquiring like Michael Jordan cards in the $1 to $2 range and other players as well. Kobe Bryant, I have some soccer cards as well. And I can certainly see if you're getting these cards for $1 or $2, you join the PSA Collectors Club and you send this in for $15. As long as it comes back in a 9, you're not going to get hurt. You might lose a couple of bucks after selling fees, but if you score that 10, all of a sudden this is a $50, $60, $70 card, maybe even higher in some cases. And so there's certainly a strategy there. You can go after the hot prospects, the Caleb Williams, Anthony Edwards right now is just red hot. You can go after the guys that are doing well. You can kind of chase the new stuff, the modern stuff. I'm going to be talking about a strategy I think that is far more approachable. It's something that more people can get into. Now, you can also take the Jeff Wilson strategy, right? You can spend the government's money, millions of dollars on cards, overpriced cards. You can buy the modern stuff. You can buy the vintage stuff. You can open a $4 million card shop, $3 million card shop. You can get allocation from Topps and Panini and try to make money. And believe it or not, folks, outside of most people in this hobby, I've actually done all of that. I've had allocation from Topps. I had allocation from Panini. I've worked with the distributors from Peach State to GTS to Southern Hobby, and I've opened a card shop. I've sold online. I've sold on Check On My Cards. I've sold on Golden. I've bought on all of these sites. I've bought and sold on eBay as well. So I've tried a lot of these different strategies. Sometimes they work. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes strategies work better for some people rather than others. Today, I'm going to walk you through a strategy that I think is pretty approachable for most people. It could be a side income, a side hustle, if you will, for you. It also could just be a way to maybe supplement your hobby instead of using your paycheck every month or using credit cards and those types of things to acquire the cards that you do want. Well, you could sell some cards on the side, use that income to kind of feed into your hobby, if you will. Now, the strategy that I've been approaching more recently is buying a relatively cheap cards. Primarily, what I like to do is I like to specialize in something. And I come from the stock market world, right? Where you tend to specialize in something. There's, guys that are into tech stock. There's guys into energy. There's bond traders. There's currency traders. There's people into gold. There's people into crypto. So what I'm trying to do, at least in the early stages, and it doesn't have to be with every purchase that I make, but I'm trying to specialize in the cards that I know. And I grew up in the era of Michael Jordan. So the early 1990s into the 2000s, Michael Jordan was the premier card that you could pull. And the great thing about Michael Jordan cards is they're very, very liquid. If you go to eBay and search Michael Jordan and see how many Michael Jordan cards sell every day, and I'm not talking about his 86 rookie or his autograph cards, and so those certainly sell and they're good cards. But man, all his $1, $2, $3 cards, these sell regularly. I mean, we're talking about, as we record this podcast, dozens of these things are going to sell across of eBay. So I like Michael Jordan just from a liquidity perspective. It's very easy to sell Michael Jordan cards. Also, if you get on eBay and you search to buy Michael Jordan, lots of 25 Michael Jordan cards, 100 Michael Jordan cards, 150 Michael Jordan cards. It's actually not that hard to find people selling big lots of Michael Jordan cards that you can get for $1, $1.50, $2 each at a relatively affordable price, where you're going to be able to turn around and resell them. And look, if they come to you in nice condition, I am looking at some of these cards and I'm like, you know what? That's probably at least a PSA 9 on that card. And so I'm going to join the Collectors Club over at PSA at some point I only have maybe 4 or 5 cards. I'm going to wait till I have a batch of maybe about 20, 25, 30 of them, send them in. Maybe that'll be a separate video. But there's a lot of liquidity in the Michael Jordan business. It's probably the same true for the sneaker world. Is if you're going to get into reselling sneakers, the Michael Jordan sneaker might be the kind of the entryway there. And so I think Michael Jordan is excellent. Now, if Kobe Bryant, if there was more opportunities to buy large lots of Kobe Bryant cards, he's another athlete that's very, very easy to sell, but there's just less of his cards out there, not only from kind of a print run perspective, but also from people just willing to sell them. Michael Jordan is one of the most liquid athletes that you can possibly find. So the strategy I'm taking with my eBay store is I'm finding collectors that are selling these Michael Jordan lots. Now, sometimes you're using large consigners, the Probsteins, the Hooties, the DC Sports 87. These guys occasionally have Michael Jordan cards, but what I have found, you get better deals. You find that guy that it just has his random Michael Jordan cards. He might only have 25, 30, 40 feedback. That's where your good deals are as it relates to Jordan. But again, doesn't have to be a rule of thumb. The other thing that I am finding is I am acquiring large lots occasionally of serial numbered cards, refractor cards, and in general, those are going to be a little bit slower sellers. They're not as liquid. They're not going to sell as fast as the Michael Jordan cards. But more recently, I've picked up some 2008 Bowman Chrome. This was in football. I picked up blue refractors that were numbered out of 150 and some X refractors numbered out of 250. And those have been selling relatively well. And what I've noticed inside of that is people just undervalue some players. So like this Gerard Mayo, for example, this card was numbered out of 150. I picked up the whole lot for maybe 70, 80 bucks, and it probably had nearly 200 cards. Well, you take this single Gerard Mayo card and you're able to sell it for $10. You take the Brandon Jacobs cards, you're going to be able to sell that for $2. Now you're going to have duds in there, like the Jamarcus Russells. Those are going to sell for 99 cents. But look at this order, and this all went to one buyer. I sold a Jamarcus Russell card, a John David Booty card, and an Owen Smith card, all to the same buyer. So you don't have to sell like the superstars like Michael Jordan, certainly all the modern quarterbacks, the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrows. You can sell these quarterbacks that flamed out in a year or two, and their cards are still selling years later. Now, you obviously do have to get them at the right price. But in general, I'm focused on Michael Jordan because his card market is extremely liquid. And you see just in the past couple of days how many Michael Jordan cards I've sold. Now, some of them sell for 99 cents. And honestly, on a card basis, you're probably losing 25 to 30 cents on that single card. I'll talk about the accounting method that you should really think about when you're selling these low dollar cards. Some people account for profit and loss on a per card basis. So for example, they bought this Kobe Bryant card for maybe $1.50 and they sold it for $2.99. So they say that they profit $1.50 or $1 after fees on the card. That's not how I would look at it. If you look at the large retailers out there, like a Home Depot, a Walmart, and or Amazon, they're not looking at their profit on a per card basis. There's some stuff, particularly if you go to like Costco, they're not making money on that rotisserie chicken. They're not making money on the hot dog, but they're making money across a wide range of other products inside of their store. And sometimes maybe you sell this Michael Jordan card for 99 cents and on a per card basis, you might have lost money, but then you sold this one for $3.99 where you made a lot of money, maybe $2 or $3 on that one. So you're going to have some cards that you're going to have to let go for a loss, but then overall, just like the Costco model with the hot dog and the rotisserie chicken, you're going to make money. And so the way I would account for your profit and loss is don't look at it on a card by card basis. Just total up the amount that you've spent on inventory. And to give you an idea, again, this is not Jeff Wilson. I don't have $2 million to just dump into this, get a bunch of inventory and employees and just throw it all together very quickly. And I guarantee you, if you looked at Jeff Wilson's profit and loss on his Cards HQ, it is deep in the red, probably well north of 7 figures in the red, because it's not just what you've spent on the building. You got the employees, you've got the inventory, you've got taxes, all of those types of things. Here's just a general idea based on my eBay store, which right now has about 800 cards listed. Let me pull up my eBay store so you guys can see this. So right now, in terms of my active listings, Got 820 active listings. I have multiple quantities of some cards. So the actual quantity of card listed is actually 994. My total buy it now price. So the strategy I'm working with, and everybody can approach this differently. I can see somebody doing 7-day auctions, and that's certainly something as maybe I get my feedback up a little bit higher. This is off a brand new account, Sports Card Radio over on eBay. It's a brand new account. I only have 61 feedback. I have an older account with thousands of feedback, but I decided to set something up separately to really be able to get the accounting and really get a deep insight into if this is something that I want to continue to pursue. Total out of basically 1,000 cards listed, my total buy it now price is $4,180. Now I have all strictly buy it nows. I might have one auction mixed in, but it's not selling. The other strategy obviously is you could run 7-day auctions and you could be pumping this stuff out week after week. Obviously though, you'd be at the mercy of whatever this stuff goes for at that auction price. And so I'm picking a buy it now price. Now, at some point down the road, maybe I'm sitting on too much inventory or I'm just realizing, hey, my buy it now price is maybe a little too high. And I just click over here. You can come to your listings and then just, do kind of a mass send to auction. Like you could do this and you can change this thing to an auction. So you can really kind of take your buy it now listings and convert them to auction listings very quickly and very easily. And maybe at some point I do that. Now, a couple of things that I've noticed is my sales have been very consistent. You see, if you look at the date here, I'm selling basically cards every single day. But what I've noticed, at least for me, from a buy it now perspective, is Friday paydays. So when I get paid, I noticed that my sales absolutely skyrocket on eBay. And you can actually see it from kind of a graphical perspective. Like on Friday, May 10th, I had $78 in sales. And again, some of you might say, well, it's only $78 in sales. Well, keep in mind, I've got less than 1,000 cards listed, less than 800 or about 800 auctions or 800 items listed, and only a $4,000 asking price. So actually selling $78 in a single day. I'm actually pretty excited about that. Now, other Fridays have done relatively well, but right around kind of that Friday, that Thursday, Friday, as people move into the weekend, and I think they're getting that payday, that's when I've had some pretty decent success. Now, let's get into the numbers. So you kind of know the strategy. I'm buying lots of Michael Jordan cards. I'm simply searching, Michael Jordan card lots. I'm trying to find, tend to be like 15 to 20 count lots of Michael Jordan cards. And my price tends to be after tax and shipping to get it all to me, $1.20, $1.50 per card. I'm trying to list the high value ones here on eBay very quickly. The ones that sell anywhere north of $2 to $3. I'm charging $1.12 for shipping. I'm using the standard envelope. Now, the standard envelope actually only cost me 64 cents to ship, but you have to factor in the envelope cost about 5%. 5 cents. I also ship this out in Card Saver ones. Those are about 5 cents each. I use a team bag as well. Those are about 5 cents. So in terms of material costs, also have a label, a 4x6 label, thermal label. Those cost 2 or 3 cents each. So my material cost on the shipping, it's actually material to the sales price. It's about 15 to 20 cents. So my all-in cost to ship a card out is probably in kind of that 80-cent range. So I'm getting back about 25 to 30 cents on the shipping. You also have the benefit of combined shipping. And so what I run is a $1.12 flat rate for the first card, and then it's $1 per subsequent card. However, if somebody buys 2 cards, they're going to be paying $2.12 for shipping, but your cost is still only going to be 64 cents. It's not until you get upwards of 3 or 4 cards where you go up to maybe 88 cents or back to that $1.12. But by then you would have collected several dollars in shipping. That's also the benefit of having a focused inventory. While it's not all Michael Jordan cards, the Michael Jordan cards are my most liquid item. And so I've had many, many orders where somebody buys multiple Michael Jordan cards, and those are the orders that I do relatively well at. But that's basically my strategy. Get on eBay, find these cards. Now, you could be going to card shows to find cards, and it doesn't have to be Michael Jordan. You could be getting on Facebook Marketplace. You could be, maybe posting on social media. Certainly, if you're watching this and you have Michael Jordan cards that you want to sell me for $1.25, I'm all ears. Email box is open, sportscardshow@gmail.com. The social feeds at Twitter and Instagram are at Sports Card Radio. I'm certainly a buyer. I'm also a buyer at Kobe Bryant cards, probably at even a slightly higher price than what I pay for Michael Jordan cards. And I'm certainly a buyer of any type of modern base cards, certainly serial numbered refractors. Doesn't have to be superstar players. Mario Manningham, a lot of you guys don't remember him. Plaxico Burress, I think, almost shot his leg off in a bar, but I'm primarily focused on the Michael Jordan, certainly modern base as well. If you're somebody that gets into a lot of breaks and you acquire a lot of this modern base and you want some liquidity there, you can also send me an email. I'd be a buyer of pretty much any modern base, particularly the superstar players, the Luka Doncic and the Stephen Currys, the LeBron James, any high-end player I'd be a buyer of, particularly in slightly larger quantities. So that's really what I'm doing on eBay, and it's working pretty well. Now, over to the numbers in terms of inventory and to all the stuff that I've spent money on. And again, this is a more of approachable type of numbers out there. You're seeing these kids that are spending tens of thousands of dollars at card shows. I don't really think this is very realistic. I have a really, really good job that pays me hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in salary. My family is certainly not struggling at all. And I'm not saying that to brag. I'm saying that to put this into context, that I am really only comfortable with spending this type of money on inventory. Now, I've got credit cards that go up to $25,000, $30,000 with zero balance on it. So I certainly could get more aggressive in here. And that's possibly something that I do down the road. But right now, I've only spent $1,400, almost $1,500 in terms of inventory. Now, over the last month and a half or so, I've had sales come in at $1,075. Now, that's net sales. That includes the shipping cost. That includes even sales tax, which I don't collect, or I don't even distribute out to the states. That's something that eBay just includes. So this is kind of like a net sales number. So I've had cost of $330. This is primarily eBay fees and shipping. And so the net payout, so what has gone to my actual bank account, has actually been $675. And again, this is only over about maybe 35 or 40 days. So after spending about $1,500 on inventory, now keep in mind, I have not listed every single card. I still have boxes of Michael Jordan cards sitting around. I've got a large box of Bowman Chrome serial number cards of maybe over 200 that I haven't listed. I've also got behind here a rather large box of soccer cards. This is primarily Topps Chrome soccer cards. I haven't even listed any of these. This is probably over 100 cards right here, maybe even closer to 200 cards that I haven't even gotten around to listing yet. Because again, I have a job, I have a family, I've got things to do. I don't have time to list all the cards. So when you see that I have inventory of $1,500, not all of that inventory is listed on eBay. Also keep in mind that in terms of active listings, I have a buy it now price of $4,179. Now, if anybody offered me 10% off on a card, I would instantly sell it. And so asking price is probably closer to $3,600. Also, if you you always have to think about your inventory in terms of liquidation value. What sale could I put on eBay and liquidate almost all of this inventory? I actually think I have things priced really competitively on eBay. I certainly am not trying to price over market. I'm actually trying to come right at market or just underneath. My philosophy with this business is buy low and sell fast. So I'm not trying to buy these Jordan cards for $1.25 and squeeze out every last penny that I can from them. I'm trying to turn around and sell them because, again, you can come over here and search for Michael Jordan lot on eBay, and you've got over 11,000 listings. Now, some of it is worth buying. Even when you come to auctions, you've got over 1,300 listings, and you've just got all day long these Michael Jordan cards listed. Now, some of this stuff is overpriced, but you've got this. I'm actually watching this lot. Here's 240 of them right at $1.25, $1.50 per card. I thought this was probably right on the edge of profitability. You've got some of these hoops cards, those can sell for $3 or $4 each. You've got these Sam Vincent cards, depending on the condition. You can get maybe a little more than $4 or $5 each for those. Some of these Fleer cards are going to be only $1, maybe $1.25 if you're lucky. I showed you that I sold these Phantom Motion cards with Larry Bird on it. I sold one for $3. And that's the beauty of selling kind of the same thing over and over again. You can come to this Michael Jordan lot and price this out almost instantly. You can see like, oh, this insert up here, I've sold this insert up here for $2-3 on Check Out My Cards. That all-star card, the Members Choice Stadium Club, you're basically selling the same cards over and over. It also helps you from a listing perspective. So instead of having to create new listings for every single card that you get, you might already have that Michael Jordan card listed, and all you have to do is go adjust the quantity, maybe add some photos, those types of things. But overall, I'm very pleased with how this business is scaling up. The fact that I've only spent $1,400 on inventory, I've already gotten $675 back in terms of payouts. I have over 4,000 cards, or over $4,000 worth of buy it nows listed on my eBay store. Cut that number in half, or maybe even do like an 80% off. That's still well in excess of what I've spent in terms of inventory. And again, I haven't listed all the cards yet on eBay as well. Now, one thing that I didn't include on the expenses there is I have put some money into my equipment, and I bought one of these Ricoh FI 8170s. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend this out there for you that are if you're just starting out, if you're just learning how to sell on eBay. And look, I've been buying and selling cards on eBay for 25 years now. Also, if money is a little tight, believe me, guys, the phone on your camera works just fine. You don't have to make great scans of this. In fact, you don't even have to get this scanner. You can go get one of the cheaper kind of flatbed scanners for you probably get on Amazon and find one for like $60 or $70. They also have another model, which is kind of this overhead scanning one. Certainly, if you have graded cards or larger items, this might even be a better option for you. And it's about $100, $200 cheaper. So my point is, you do have to invest a little bit. I've got a lot invested into card savers. I've got a lot invested into card sleeves. I bought, a large quantity of envelopes to get kind of a quantity discount. And again, I bought a really expensive scanner, which again, you don't have to do. You can do this with your cell phone. You can do this even with a cheaper flatbed scanner. I just bought one of these because it is a little bit faster and it speeds things up. And again, I have a very, very, very good job to where I can afford $800 and it doesn't impact my lifestyle at all. Also, you look at this from a tax perspective, the tax bracket that I'm in, particularly living here in California, I'm in a gigantic high tax state. And so sometimes having a side business where you can recognize some expenses and not squeeze it for profit, since I'm not using this money to feed my family or anything like that, that can have some tax advantages in the long run. But in the long run, I'm actually looking to scale up this into a full-fledged, what I would call side hustle, or maybe more or less a small business for me. One where as my kids get older, maybe they're going to be able to help me. They help me occasionally put labels on things. They help me put cards into soft sleeves. But maybe as they get older, they have a little bit of interest in this, and we can kind of do this together. They've taken an interest into Pokemon cards more recently. And so it's possible that this is something I can kind of work on with my kids. It gives them, maybe more or less something to do and maybe a way to earn some allowance money, if you will. But kind of in conclusion, that's what I've been doing on eBay. You absolutely can make money doing this. You can buy these lots. Now, if you're into vintage baseball, you certainly can do it there. If you're into other players like Ken Griffey Jr., I'm sure you can do it. Any player that was popular kind of in that mid 1990s into the 2000s, the Michael Jordans, the Ken Griffey Jr.'s, the Bo Jacksons, the Derek Jeter, you're going to be able to find lots and lots of their cards for sale, as this is what people have laying around. You can also do it kind of on this modern stuff as well. I got a huge lot of these Topps Chrome card. I probably paid maybe 25 cents each for these cards. I've still got a big box of it sitting here with a lot of refractor parallels. There was even Messi's and Mbappe's in there as well. You can find old serial numbered stuff of these baseball players that nobody remembers and are far out of the league in most cases. And you can get, I got these green refractors. I think I paid maybe 25 cents a card, and they're not going to be quick sellers like Michael Jordan's, but they do sell. And then you've got your Michael Jordans. You can get these retirement cards in lots where you pay on average $1.25, $1.50 per card. And these single cards sell for $3.95. In fact, on this auction, somebody bought 3 or 4 of them. So I did particularly well, especially when you combine shipping. Now, you probably do eventually have to make some investment into your equipment. A nice scanner helps. Also, a 4x6 thermal label printer also helps. I happen to use this Rollo device, which is $200, although I'm sure you can find maybe knockoffs or cheaper versions for slightly cheaper than that. This just makes labeling much, much faster because, again, as you scale this business up, you can have some days, and I've certainly had these days, where I've had to ship out 25 orders in a single day. And so the faster you can label these cards and label your packages, that certainly can relieve some time that you have to spend. Now, the one thing that I wouldn't do in this business is look at it on a per hour basis. I've had people say, after I've posted that, I have, 30 envelopes to take to the post office, people have asked, whoa, is that even worth it from a per hour basis? Guys, when you're in business for yourself, you don't get an hourly rate. There isn't a 9 to 5 schedule. There's a 24-hour, 365-day schedule when you work for yourself. If all you've done your whole life is work kind of an hourly job, I can understand how you look at, I put in an hour of time and I get certain amount of money put into my bank account through the form of a salary. It doesn't work that way when you're self-employed. I can't tell you how many times and how many hours I've put into things and made no money. In fact, I've spent money to try to build up a business. But over time, what you're trying to do and what you're looking for is scale. And with this business, I certainly can see scale. If you get enough of this inventory in and you create some efficiencies in terms of listing and shipping out, you can scale this up into a business that probably earns $2,000 to $3,000 relatively comfortably for you every single month. Obviously, you're going to have to put in some hours, listing some cards, shipping some cards, pick, packing, and shipping this stuff. But a lot of the time, at least with the job that I have now, I'm sitting around, I'm watching CNBC, I'm watching Bloomberg, I'm reading something. At night, I'm watching a Lakers game. I might be watching a San Francisco Giants game during the football season. I'm going to sit on the couch and watch football all day on Sunday instead of sitting there twiddling my thumbs, instead of sitting there scrolling on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you guys spend a lot of time on Instagram for free, earning no money. Well, this is something that you can put into some time and maybe make a little bit of money. Folks, that was my eBay update. That's my eBay business for right now. I'm scaling this business up. We'll see how it goes. If you do want to support the process, you can go to eBay and find the official eBay account of Sports Card Radio. And if you buy, I tell you what, if you buy multiple cards, send me a message and just say, you listen to the program or something like that, and I will reduce your shipping charge down to what it cost. So you can save a little bit of money if you want to support the channel and get some cards at the same time. I will keep you updated, and I'll be back some other time, some other place, but I wanted to have a show where we just strictly talked about this. We'll be back some other time. Let me know down in the comments. A lot of you have been doing this type of thing. I'd love to hear what you're doing and what strategies are working for you, and we can all hopefully learn together. That was the podcast for today. We'll obviously be back on Thursday with another live stream that hopefully goes maybe a little smoother than last week's. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back some other time, some other place, but for now, we're out of here.